Hello again, this is UML Operator. In the past two sessions, we've talked about what use cases are used for and when to use use cases. In this session, we're going to be drilling down into what an effective use case is. And it's important to understand how to get started, where to go, and where to come back to in an iterative manner. Today, we're going to touch on effective use cases. In the past two sessions, we have shown while the use cases are good, are they effective? Where effective is being successful in producing a desired or intended result. When you have a diverse project and or delivery team, the results must be effective for all, which is the point of doing use case models in the beginning. While I've been creating use cases for different business objectives for the last 3 decades, for me in the early days, they were not effective. Sure, they satisfied my needs, but were the stakeholders on the same page as I? Were we successful? Were we effective in our delivery? Before we get started, I must share this book that was published in 2000 by Alistair Cockburn. It is the best book on use cases that I've ever read. All right, so let's get started. The first thing you need to do is start your actor profile list. Let's go over to the example diagram that we shared earlier. And what Sparx will tell you in this model is what the use cases are used for and the relations between the actors in the system. So what it says, you can use them for functional requirements of the system, describe the manner in which the outside actors interact with the system boundary, and describe the response of the system. But in order to really get started, we need to get a good inventory of our actors, and then we're going to move into creating a actor goal list. So we'll get into that next. So let's get over to creating our actor catalog before we start creating our actor goal list, which are going to be assembly of use case elements and some short goal notes underneath each one of them. But let's do our actors first. So I'm going to drill into our actors. The actor catalog stores the impacted actors. These are humans and machines in this effort. Go ahead and cancel, double click on the package. And I did this ahead of time to shorten the video. So I just bring in some actors, alphabetical order, however you want to do it. Administrator, added some notes in Sparx. So let's go ahead and double click on administrator and open up the properties and just a very short description of the actor. And you're going to do that for each one of those. Now, what you see is a general user and everything is generalized. And so if you've been following, you understand generalization. If you're looking at traceability, you can see that the user is a super type of all of these actors. And so it just gives you the ability to explain what the user is as a stakeholder in the system. And then you just start building out your actors that are going to be involved in your use case models. Okay, now that we have our actors, go ahead and minimize this package or namespace. And what we want to do is we want to create an actor goal list, right? So these are your actors, a task level goal with priorities, that are going to be driving the next. But basically, you want to have a short as possible goal, and it should be, active verb phrase. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our first use case store. So I'm going to go back over here, manage users. Let's go ahead and we can open this up, and you can see in manage users, we have our system. Right? That's this boundary that you see around these use cases. So this is what's in scope for these use cases and the exercise we're going to do. Right? So the very first one is login. And as soon as I click on it, you can see over on the right side, I have notes pop up. Let me go ahead and open up the dialog box. Let me go here, Alt Enter. Remember I showed you the shortcuts, how to do that. The client goal is to log into the online bookstore platform, all right? Very short statement, right? Short as possible. You don't want to start typing War and Peace. So same thing with create customer. You can see they're very short phrases, actor goal list. And the actor that I have relevant or associated to these use cases or actor goals is the customer. And then down here is the agent. All right. So that completes manage users. Go ahead and close this. No, I didn't really make any changes. All right. And you do that for manage inventory because we're creating some areas of scope. So we'll open up manage inventory for the online bookstore. All right. And then the next one is take orders. So take orders, open it up. Actor, the primary actor is the customer. And you can see as I'm selecting these, either here or over here, I have a statement in here, which is a short active verb phrase, right? So that's all you're doing, right? Much easier than pen and paper or, working in a separate document for your model. You're literally typing it into the elements that you're going to be working with. All right, now that we've got our actor goal list set, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build use case briefs, which include the actor, the goal, and of course a brief. Now down here in the 10 points to remember, the very first one is a use case is a prose essay. And a prose essay is a type of writing that presents an argument or discusses a particular topic in a straightforward, clear, and coherent manner. All right, so over on the right side here, this is the format that I use in each use case to accomplish just what I just said. Now, before we move to that part, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the top of this package and we're going to run a report. And if you watch the shortcut video, it's F8, basically from anywhere you are, selecting the package that you want to report on. And I created a template. And again, I'm going to cover reporting in a separate video. I should have done it before this one, but I don't want to hold up creating this video. So I created a template. We open it up, very simple template. All it's doing is the package name, and then it's cycling through the various elements. All right. So we're going to hit F8 again. Right. And I've chosen the template that I want to use, and we're going to simply select generate because we like where it's going. And we're going to hit view. So in here, this is what we just went through. So now we have our actor goal list. Here's our actors. Here's our goals, right? Very quick report. If you wanted to do a report, you could print this online. So it's a web page, but we'll cover all of that when we get into reporting. So now that we've accomplished that, now let's start moving into building out our effective use cases. All right, so what we're going to do is roll over here and we're going to select this template. I'm going to go in here, hit Control A to copy all of this, hit Control C, and we're going to go to Manage Users. And our first one, we have our active goal. Right underneath it, I'm going to paste the template, right? And I'm going to do this for each one of these use cases. So we have our goal, and I'm going to go ahead and cut, Control X, and I'm going to put it right here, all right? And then the name of this is login if you wanted to. You already have the name above. You don't need to do it twice. In fact, let me take that out, but I am going to leave this line space here. And then we'll define the scope, and then we'll make a determination. We're going to do this at the summary level, the user goal level, or the sub-function. I'll explain this in a moment, all right? And I'm going to start everything usually at the summary level. All right, and then the primary actor is customer. So what you're going to see here as we're moving into this is each one of these, we're going to move the goal that we created a moment ago into the use case following this template. All right, we've gone through each one of the use cases and we've added the template to each one of those so that we can get started, okay? And this is the secret sauce to creating effective use cases. And with Sparx, you're literally putting the intelligence under each element, model element. So that's the power of Sparx Enterprise Architect and SQL database. So this is finished product. Let me close that. We don't need that. So what we're going to do next, I'm going to stay on this, But in order to do that, I like to have notes. I'm going to drag and drop this just to the right so that as I'm selecting each one of these, I'm able to add that in. All right. So let me Alt G, find the right one. There we go. And then I'm able to type in as I'm moving through these here. And I can certainly minimize these and move them over, size them any way I want, depending on the size of your monitor and what's most productive for you. All right, I'm going to work login first. First, what I want to do is the system boundary. I want to right click on this, go to behavior, and I don't want it selectable. So now it's not selectable and it won't be in the way. Gives us the ability to manage elements without worrying about editing them or moving them within the model, right? And as you remember in a very previous video, long time ago, you can go to layout, select, and you can make all elements selectable again, all right? But I don't want this selected, behavior, and I'm going to turn that off, all right? So let's see here. We're going to do login first. So the scope is what? It's online bookstore, right? So it's the online bookstore. That's your scope. Now you can explain the scope a little bit more, add more context in there, but we're going through each one of these. We're brainstorming with the team or by yourself. And as you're going through, as again, what I do is I leave the 3 selections and then I'm going to make bold as I'm passing through. And I can certainly give this a color of any type that I want, saying, hey, I'm at the summary level. The actor I've already added in on this one is customer. It should be probably user, but it's primary actor. So we're going to be writing the functional requirements and system requirements, at least to start for login, at the customer level, right? And then we're going to go through stakeholder and interests. And of course, that's to allow the stakeholder, the customer and users, the ability to access based on their authorization, the system, all right? And we'll get more into that. Preconditions, of course, they have to have an account. And I'm going to type all this out, but I don't want this video to get too long. Minimal guarantee. Their credentials have been validated and they're able to pass through and do what they need to do to log in, all right? Success guarantee, of course, is successful login. And then there's trigger events, which basically login. A trigger event could be anywhere. Them trying to do something. You can throw some event that says, hey, you have to log in first. You could put login capabilities within the customer's purview, the screen, what have you. And then we're going to get into main success factor or scenarios. And this is going to be the fun part, because then what we're doing when we're on something like login, Alt Enter is the shortcut, brings up the property window. We're going to get into building scenarios, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and cancel. And then extensions, I'll explain all of this in our prose essay or the template that we're building under each one of these. They become a portable intelligence element within your modeling environment. Right, I'm going to go offline and complete all of these, but I'm going to move back over to this example and you can take some screenshots if you wish. So basically the template that I use, and I provide a pattern for this, and eventually when I get to my online courses, I'll provide all of this material for you that you can download and use yourself. But essentially, as I stated, the context of the use case is your goal, right? The scope is the black box, the boundary around your use case. Then the level, we'll get more into the various 3 levels as Alistair explains in that book that you're going to be creating the use cases at. The primary actor, the stakeholders, explain to the modelers what stakeholders and interests are, preconditions, minimal guarantees, success guarantees, the trigger that would start the use case, the main success scenario, and we're going to use scenario builder on this, and then you list, step 1. You could certainly just use scenario and not write all of this out, or you could write all of it out and then use that as your notes to build your scenarios, but we'll get into more of that when we get there, all right? Extensions, all right? And these are basically referring to each step. So your extensions are your alternate, your exception handling, and so on, right? Your technology, this is a big one, technology and data variation list. And I have in my blog, and I'll try to leave a note below, I explain, this is very important, what technology and data variation lists are. This is critical. It can be optional in the beginning, but you're going to have to understand what your technologies and the data variations are and what you're doing. And then related information. Whatever your project needs as far as additional, you just want to put your references, your related information to this. Could be other use case models, could be other model elements, it could be anything within your project that's related information to the use case. All right, one important thing I need to mention before we get started in doing all this work. So at the upper level of the online store use cases, this package, what I want to do is hit Control Alt and B to baseline this package. We're going to create a new baseline at this date and time. We could write some short notes in here, but we're not going to spend the time to do that. So we're baselining this so that we can do a compare as we progress in this work effort with the team. And as we're creating baselines, and we're going to stop every package, we're going to create a new baseline. We're able to restore back to, refer to, show differences, all the power that I've talked about in previous videos on baselining and versioning. So very important that you do that before we get started. You could certainly do it at any level. You could baseline at the actor level. You could baseline just at the package. So as we're working this, then this is going to be the first one we're doing. We're going to hit Control Alt B. You could certainly baseline here, 0.01. And we've created a baseline just at this package that we're going to be working for these various use cases. So we'll take a break here and split this video. We've talked about what an effective use case is. We've got started on building our use cases. We created our actor catalog, actor goal list. We started building our use case briefs, which we're going to apply. We ran a report to show our actor goal list, and we started actually building some effective use cases. And finally, we versioned our work before we move on. In the next session, we're going to pick up where we left off, and I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks very much. Talk to you later.